Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this evening we reading continue from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized, text number 48. Yogastha, equiposed, Guru, perform, Karmani, your duties, Sangam, attachment, Chakva, giving up, Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, Siddhi Asiddhoya, in success and failure, Sama, equiposed, Bhutva, becoming, Samatvam, equanimity, Yoga, Uchyate, is called. Yogastha kuru karmani, Sangam chakva dhananjaya, Siddhi asiddhyo samabhutva, Savatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani, Sangam chakva dhananjaya, Siddhi asiddhyo samobhutva, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani, Sangam chakva dhananjaya, Siddhi asiddhyo samobhutva, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani, Sangam chakva dhananjaya, Siddhi asiddhyo samabhutva, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Everybody please repeat after me. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Purport. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. And in this practice, in the process, is called, and this is practice in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Satriya, and as such he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. Om Jnanantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurung Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Chakva Dhananjaya Siddhi Asiddhyo Samabhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is telling Arjuna that he should fight, but fight as acting in yoga. What is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. Yoga means to link up with the Supreme Absolute Truth. And no one can meditate or to be linked up with the Absolute Truth without the senses being under control. Yoga means being focused on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, none other than Lord Krishna. Being focused means becoming absorbed, becoming fixed, become completely only under under the concentration of Lord Krishna, and either through his name, fame, form, qualities, or pastimes. So that is yoga. That is the real meaning of yoga. To be absorbed, to become fixed, to execute all the activities for Krishna's pleasure. One cannot perform yoga if one's action pertains to one's own self-enjoyment. That is not yoga. Yoga means pleasing the senses of the Supreme Lord, Rishikesh, who is the master of all the senses. Yes, and yoga only pertains to that relationship between the living beings and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here it is explains that Supreme Lord is instructing him to perform his duty, Arjuna being a Satriya, to fight, but that fighting should be done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So he does not have to worry about the result of this fighting. If the Supreme Lord tells us something, some kind of activities, then that activities, the result is up to Krishna. If Krishna wanted us to fail, it is for our own benefit also. If Krishna wants us to succeed, it's still up to Krishna, and it is also for our own benefit. Either ways, ultimately, whatever Krishna wanted us to do will be for our own benefit. Seemingly, if we calculate it, because here, Arjuna, if you see it in moral, material point of view, it is kind of wrong, because he's fighting against his kinsmen, he's fighting against his family members. And to fight against the elderly is going against the proper etiquette. The elders should be worshipped instead of to fight. But Krishna is telling to Arjuna to fight to his relatives, to his cousins, to his grandfather Bhishma, not for some other material benefits, but to establish the principles of Dharma. Yes, so gain or victory are Krishna's concern. It should not be the concern of Arjuna. Krishna advised Arjuna to fight, and then you just have to act according to the dictations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one must be equiposed. Equiposed means or equanimity. Equanimity, that means equal. It doesn't matter what will be the result, whether it's going to be a failure or success. Ultimately, the end result will be based upon how we perform the actions that Krishna is asking us to do. So Arjuna is being asked to fight, and morally this is kind of wrong, because you're fighting against your grandparent, you're fighting against your relatives. So it seems to me is unacceptable. But for the higher purpose, Krishna is telling Arjuna, in order to establish the principles of religion, you have to fight. That is the purpose. Equanimity. It says here, equanimity refers to freedom from the dualities of attachment and aversion, and thus transcendence of the three modes of material nature. Yes, equanimity means acting under the jurisdiction of the Antaranga Shakti, the internal potency. That means transcendental platform. Because the platform whereby pleasing Krishna has nothing to do with under the modes of material nature. There's no karma. Anything or any performance of activities which pertains for our own benefit, for our own sense enjoyment, there is karma. As Srila Prabhupada says, even at the time of death, you want a rasgula or a gulab jamun. That means you have to come back again to take that gulab jamun or that rasgula. But any activities for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, or in that matter, His devotees, His servants, or the servants of His servants, then it is not anymore under the jurisdiction of the modes of material nature. It is completely spiritual. That means there is no karma. We may be expecting something which is, the result is favorable for us, but ultimately the ultimate result is not going to be binding us. We may fail to do it, but if we are following the instructions of the spiritual master or the Supreme Personality of Godhead or His representatives, the result is not up to us. Just the act of following that instructions, whether we may consider that it is a failure or not, it is transcendental. Because if it's done, especially without any self-motivation and surrendering everything, body, mind, words, and the very self, to execute that instruction coming from the Supreme Lord or His representative, then it is free from under the modes of material nature. No more karma. So the following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, because you're focused only on the Supreme Lord, following His instruction. If we're following the dictations of our mind because of the uncontrolled senses, then that is not yoga. So the first lesson in yoga, or linking up with the Supreme Absolute Truth, is to control the mind, to control these senses. There is no such thing as yoga without controlling of the mind. This is the number one prerequisite of a spiritualist, of an aspiring spiritualist, person who's aspired to reach the goal, to go back home to the spiritual world. The devotees, they're not after salvation. Automatically they are being liberated. Ultimately, the goal of the devotees is to attain love of God. And attaining love of God means following the Supreme Lord's instructions, or the instructions coming from His bona fide representatives. So following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. And this practice or process is called Krishna consciousness. Right now, we're not on that platform yet of yoga. We're just trying to become bhakti yogis. Because to become a bhakti yogi or a devotee, a bhakta, is very rare. That means completely, 100%, no more uncontrolled mind. That means mind is completely focused. Prabhupada gave an example, just like there was a king, he was passing by, and there was also an arrow maker. An arrow maker. So he was trying to sharpen the arrow, and the king was passing by. He didn't even notice the king passing by. Technically speaking, if the king passed by, whatever you do, you stop. Because the king, you have to offer your obeisances. So similarly, a person who is on the platform of transcendental loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, no more material desires come into his mind. He's always focused on only pleasing the Supreme Lord and only trying to follow his instructions. Now, as Prabhupada says also, as long as we have this material body, material desires may come. But for a person who is fixed in trying to become a devotee, then the urges of the senses for the objects of sense enjoyment may come, but that person is not attracted because he's focused on pleasing the Supreme Lord. The urges may come, the attraction may come, but he is not attracted. He knows how to say no. That is the difference. Non-devotee is always engaged in fulfilling the desires, which is to enjoy the senses with the sense objects. But the spiritualist or devotee is the opposite. He's also engaging his senses, but not to fulfill the enjoyment, to enjoy the sense objects. His main purpose, he's using his senses, he's using everything to please Krishna's senses, to give Krishna pleasure, or to please Krishna's devotees. So that practice is called, and process is called Krishna consciousness. So right now we're just what you call sadhakas. We're practitioners. We are not what you call expert. We're just like novice. Novice means beginners. And beginners means they may have a tendency still to be attracted by the material energy. Prabhupada says, you cannot control your mind. It's not possible to control the mind. But the only way how one can control the mind is if one engages his mind in always thinking of how to be engaged in the service of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Always thinking of ways how to spread the glories of the Lord or His name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. Always engaged in Sankirtan. Actually, our movement is a Sankirtan movement. Everyone is involved in spreading the Lord's name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. Some may be in the front line, just like in the army. We're like a Sankirtan army. Everyone is engaged in how to please the Supreme Lord's for the Supreme Lord's pleasure. But some are, as it explains in the Bhagavad-Gita, those who are in the mood of spreading directly the process of Krishna consciousness. For those who gives this knowledge to others directly, they are the most dear to Krishna. But nevertheless, every one of us are in that process, but some are like more in the front. In the army, some are like in the actual war, fighting. Some are behind. Some are the cooks. Some are medical aides. But without all these different engagements in the army, those who are in the front, they're not going to be successful also. If the cooks are not going to be able to do their duty to cook, what are they going to eat? Nothing. And if their stomach is empty, then how are they going to fight? It's not possible, right? So we thank everybody who are in the Sankirtan movement, starting from the cooks. That's why Prabhupada says our religion is kitchen religion at the same time. because everything is involved in pleasing the Supreme Lord. We cook everything first, offer to the Supreme Lord, and then we honor the prasadam. So, by Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. Yes. Because one who practices Krishna consciousness, bhakti-yoga, he becomes selfless. It's not selfish. The materialists are selfish. Everything involved in their activities always includes in the consciousness of me and mine, or I, me, and mine. But those who are practitioners in Krishna consciousness, even the novice or the devotees in the beginning stage, they understand that whatever they're doing is for the pleasure of Shri Guru and Sri Krishna, Shri Guru and Gauranga. The real proprietor is the Supreme Lord. Even our grihastas, those who are householders, those who live at home, they don't think that their home belongs to them. They're like caretakers. It's like yesterday we participated in Bhumi Puja. That means there is one grihasta couple. They're planning to move here in Vrindavan. So they did the purification of the land. They put kurma and anantasesh. They did puja and to prepare the land. But they don't acknowledge, right, even from the very beginning, they know that they will be staying there to perform their bhajan, because Vrindavan is meant for bhajan. Bhajan means worship of the Supreme Lord. So their land that they acquired is just a preparation for them to build or construct a house whereby Krishna will be the proprietor. Yes, they have Shalagram Shilas, they have two Ladu Gopals, one small and one big. So they offer the land to their deities. So yes, one who is in the process of Krishna consciousness, even the beginner, what to say of even the Paramahamsa stage, everything belongs, they understand that everything belongs to Krishna. The Krishna is the ultimate proprietor. Isvara Parama Krishna. He is Param Isvara. He is the supreme proprietor. We are proprietor in a sense because we are just like caretaker. But Krishna is the ultimate proprietor. And therefore, everything that they perform is meant to please the Supreme Lord. This is what you call, they become selfless. All of their actions, all of their activities, all of their lives are focused into Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. Yes. To be the servant of Krishna is very high. But higher is to be servant of Krishna. Of course, to be the servant of Krishna means to be like really close to Krishna, but we cannot get that part anymore. That part's already taken. We cannot be another Nanda Maharaj or Mother Yasoda or Sridham or different cowherd girls or different cowherd boys who have direct association of the Supreme Lord. But we can assist. We can be the servant of the Supreme Lord. And in this way, we also become dear to Krishna. Everyone is dear to Krishna. In the eyes of Krishna, everyone is equal. No one is greater or no one is lower. Don't think that the cows are lower than Mother Yasoda or the cowherd boys are greater than the cows. No. In the eyes of Krishna, everyone is equal. However, when it comes to relationship with the Supreme Lord, one has more intimate relationship. One is closer. So the closer one gets to Krishna, then the relationship becomes more sweeter and sweeter. So one has to become a servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. This is the proper attitude. One who is in the process of developing love for Krishna, they don't mind being servant of the servant of the servant, koti servant of the Supreme Lord. In this way also they get the mercy, they get the benediction from the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada says that it's like to be the servant of Guru is not as greater than to be the servant of the Guru. To assist the servant who's directly serving the Guru is far better in such a way, because otherwise how can they perform their serving the spiritual master or serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead if no one assists them? It's always needing some assistance. And in this way they become very dear to the Supreme Lord. So that is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. The whole thing that we do here is yoga. It's not the same yoga that nowadays there. Yoga is like a household name. Many different kinds of yoga. There is hot yoga, cold yoga. There is beer yoga. It's different. Huh? Laughing yoga. They just laugh and laugh and laugh. Crying yoga. Naked yoga. Different kinds of yoga. But that is not the real yoga. Real yoga means developing love for Krishna, developing love for the Supreme Lord. That is yoga. Today's yoga is just to increase one's sense enjoyment, so that they become strong physically, becoming their strength increases, physically they become fit. But this is not the real yoga nowadays. This is what is called Astanga yoga or Hatha yoga, or sitting in different positions or different asanas. That's not real yoga. That's not the practice of yoga. In older days, in the early days, this is what you do. It's like in Satya Yuga, they do that kind of yoga. They meditate for 60,000 years. They can meditate up in the Himalayas, up in the caves, or inside the caves, and take bath in a very cold winter season, in the month of Magh, the Ganges River up to their neck. It's really cold. Even right now, summertime, you take a little dip of yoga. The Ganga is very cold. What to say of winter time? And then in summertime, they will meditate and sit in a lotus position, and they will surround. It's already over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, over 50 degrees Celsius, and still they will put hot, burning coals all over their surroundings, so that the heat will increase 10 times more. And they can, because they're equiposed. Equiposed means they're not disturbed by any elements, material elements, because their mind is fixed also, in a sense, but their mind is not fixed on the Supreme Lord. They're fixed. They're trying to fix their meditation on the Super Soul. But nowadays yoga, they don't fix their mind on the Super Soul. Do they? They don't fix their mind on the super soul. I don't know what they fix. Oh yes, they fix their mind on the light of the candle. there's a candle, and then they're just like merge into that light, become one with the light of the candle, and the light in between their eyes, a third eye or something. So many kinds of cheating of yoga going on nowadays. And that's why Prabhupada says that our movement is the only movement that tells people, shows people how to see God. There is no other movement in the world that tells people how to see God. And if they want to see God, we will show them how to see God. We'll tell them how to execute a proper yoga, bhakti-yoga. This is the most applicable yoga in this day and age, which is to see the Supreme Lord now with our eyes immediately. We can see the Supreme Lord through the ears, through hearing, especially through the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That is the yoga of the age, the Yuga Dharma. The yoga of the age is to chant the holy name of the Lord. This is Kali Yuga. So it's not possible to fix the mind and without doing anything. We have to be active. That's why Prabhupada says in the beginning for his students to chant 64 rounds, but then they're not be able to follow because the mind cannot really focus, no taste for chanting the holy name. So he gave us different kinds of activities during the whole day. This is what he called active service. Active service. We cannot be armchair philosophers. Just talk about philosophy and don't do anything. It will not work also. That's why in our movement, all of our activities are considered as yoga. Even sweeping the floor, washing the Lord's plate, serving prasadam, even eating. Yes, eating yoga. Eating prasadam, that is yoga also. Eating prasad. So that's okay. That's yoga, because after offering to the Supreme Lord bhoga, then it becomes prasadam, and then we honor that prasadam. Yes, everything that we do in our movement is yoga, is part of this hearing and chanting, remembering the Supreme Lord, worshipping the Supreme Lord in His Archavigraha form, becoming His servant, becoming His friend, praying to the Supreme Lord. The whole life of devotee is like a prayer, and ultimately giving everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, on the other hand, just like here, Arjuna is a Satriya. So he used his propensity to fight. That is his offering to the Supreme Lord, to fight for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So for us, we have to know also our propensity. And usually, if we are not sure what is our propensity or what is it that we are good at that we can use for the service of Krishna, it can show a little bit, but then the spiritual master can fan that small spark within us. What is it that we can offer to the Supreme Lord or to the Sankirtan movement? He knows us how to be engaged in some service or many kinds of services. But usually the spiritual master knows. He knows the psychophysical analysis of the aspiring disciple or the disciple. And in this way, the best from us, the best that we can do, the ability, the capacity, the limit that we have can be opened up or can be increased or can be magnified by the spiritual master. That's why Srila Prabhupada, when he met his spiritual master also in Radhakund, he asked him, "How may I serve you? How may I serve you?" So we should ask also our spiritual master or those who are far more advanced than us to instruct us how we can fully utilize our very self in order for us to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Arjuna, he knows that he's a Kshatriya, his duty is to fight, but it's because he's also is like a saintly personality. He's a saintly person that he doesn't want to fight. But then Krishna convinced him. So this is the proper way how to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. We may know something, but then the Supreme Lord or his representative will engage us in order for us to completely satisfy the Supreme Lord. Krishna's desire for us is to use our propensity to the highest limit. And Prabhupada says the secret of success in Krishna consciousness is to push yourself to the highest limit, to the highest degree, whereby you'll be able to serve and please the Supreme Lord. That is the secret of success. And the Guru helps us to become successful in Krishna consciousness in this way. So, yes, there is what you call Varnashram Dharma, but this Varnashram Dharma is also material. This is not, the goal of Varnashram Dharma is to use different capacity, different propensities that one acquires from the previous lifetime or even in this lifetime to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is not the goal. The goal is to attain love of God. But whatever propensities we have, accordingly, we'll be able to completely dedicate ourselves in order to satisfy Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So no one should satisfy himself. Just like the materialists, their main purpose is always to satisfy themselves. The devotee's main aim is to satisfy Lord Krishna. And this is what you call yoga. This is the whole and sum and substance of this verse. Perform your duty equipose. Equipose means fixed. No flickering. Because you are focused, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Just perform our duty. The result is up to Krishna. We don't have to worry whether, oh, will it be successful? Of course. Our only aim should be just to please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, whether we are able to complete our offerings or not, it's not the matter. Even if it's halfway, if Krishna is pleased, that is the main purpose. It's like, was that the wife of Vidura offered Krishna banana peel? And Krishna is happy because the proper mood of offering to Krishna is there. Because out of, just like the gopis, you know, when they see Krishna in a hurry, they even forget to comb their hair. Their clothes are like, you know, maybe upside down or inside out. They put their kumkum in a crooked way, or that doesn't matter. Because their aim is to please Krishna. So, such equanimity is called yoga. Equanimity. Equanimity means transcendental. It's beyond the modes of material nature. So we stop here. Are there any comments?
Maharaj, I have one question. That Arjuna is doing his duty, that comes under karma yoga or bhakti yoga, Maharaj?
The karma yoga for the pleasure of Krishna is bhakti yoga.
What about then
The government.
Krishna servant, to become Krishna servant.
Yes.
So what about government servant? So what is the duty of
A government servant? Well, you do your duty, but the results, the fruits of your activity should be offered to Krishna. Then it becomes purified. And when you're doing your duty, you should also always thinking of Krishna. Yeah. The whole purpose is that act in such a way that you're always thinking of Krishna. Because your propensity, just like you're a Satriya, Arjuna is a Satriya, but he's thinking of Krishna while fighting and establishing the principles of religion. So there is karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. It becomes bhakti-yoga.
Another question.
Yes?
You said the Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to listen his instruction or his devotees.
Yeah, or his representatives.
It is the Supreme Personality of Godhead's instructions. It comes from inside, super soul, or outside. So how we should receive it?
Here, Bhagavad-Gita. If your senses are fully under control, your mind is peaceful, then you'll be able to hear the super soul. Then the super soul will tell you something to do, and then you'll be able to follow. You should follow. But even if your senses are not fully under control, the super soul is still telling you what to do, but you cannot hear. But here, directly Krishna is telling us from the Bhagavad-Gita what to do. So even if your senses are fully uncontrolled, you read Bhagavad-Gita, follow the instructions, your senses, your mind will become peaceful, they'll be controlled, and you will still be able to come to the same level. Either or. Okay? Yes, Gadadhar Prabhu?
Yes, it is a big subject about Dharma from Dharma.
It's a big subject, Varnashram Dharma, yes.
Prabhupada said that he had no time to really establish.
Yes, half of his mission is not complete, 50%.
Yes, and I was reflecting that actually we meet people who, after some years.
Where is the microphone here? Do you have a microphone here, Prabhu? Is there another microphone there? So they can hear it from the FM?
So we meet many times devotees who, after some years.
We meet many times devotees.
Who, after some years, practicing Krishna consciousness.
Yes, practicing Krishna consciousness for many years.
Yes, and they feel something becomes difficult because they would like to do something that corresponds more to their own nature. Like, actually, it means that they would like to be better situated in the like kind of varnashram.
Okay.
Some people may be like inclined to art or to teaching.
Okay.
They have to cook.
Yes. Okay.
Although it is transcendental activity, but they have difficulty to go on like that. And so it is interesting. Actually, in Vedic culture, somebody should do what he likes.
Speak closer, yeah.
In Vedic culture, the occupation of someone
Yes.
is what he never gets tired to do.
Yeah, but he is enjoying.
Yes, he likes to do that.
He's joyfully. Yes.
And this is a problem that even book distribution is supposed to be very blissful, but still, some people want to do something else.
Yes. In the beginning, we may be asked to do by the authorities or our spiritual master to do something which, in the beginning, we may not have that taste. But if we follow his instructions, and after some time, we will feel that this is very satisfying. Now, if somehow it doesn't work, it doesn't click, what we're doing, so we should tell our higher ups, we should tell our authorities or spiritual master that, my Guru Maharaj, I tried my very best, but I would like to do something else. We're a person. So you have to also voice out what you want to do, what you wish to do. But whatever Guru says, you should try to follow first. You should not say, I'm sorry, I cannot do that, Guru Dev. I want to do something else. No, then that is not good. Because that is not following the instruction. Usually, the spiritual master or the authorities will know what is our propensity. What is it that we are good at in what we can do, or what we are able to do. So he will plug us into that kind of service. But then, usually, even if we're good in what we're doing, because we cannot control our mind, we cannot control our senses, that's why we're having difficulty in what we're doing, even though we're good at that one. Okay? So ultimately, again, controlling the senses, controlling the mind, follow the instructions of Guru. These are all like, combinations of everything. And if this doesn't work, then you have to tell Guru Maharaj, can I do something else? I want to do this. And Guru may say, okay, you do. But in the beginning, if you don't want to do it, then Guru may say, okay, do whatever you like to do. But then you're not following your Guru's instructions, so that is not good.
So my second question is, what did you mean by push yourself to the limit?
Yeah, push yourself to the limit means we cannot take it easy. As Prabhupada says, the secret of success in Krishna consciousness is to engage yourself in serving the Supreme Lord, but do an extra mile. Push yourself means, go a little bit more, one notch up. Instead of oh, this is all I can do. No, you can do better than that. You understand? Those who sacrifice more, those who push themselves a little bit more into the capacity, they get the blessings of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master gives them blessings and mercy that they can make more advancement. They know there are limits. And if we just say, oh, I can only do this much. Of course, if your limit is not the same as his limit and it's not the same as his limit. But if you push all your limits, you cannot compare his limit to your limit. It's like the story of the squirrel in Brahmayan. The squirrel is only carrying few grains of sand. That is the limit of the squirrel. And the limit of Hanuman is he can carry a mountain. Right? But the same. Yeah, this is the same. You may say, hey, you're only carrying few grains. Why don't you carry a boulder? No, that is his limit. That is the point. That is my point. So each and every one of us has their own limit, but we cannot, it's relative. We cannot say, hey, why you're not carrying the same limit as mine? No. Your limit is that much, and your limit is this much, is this the same? Okay? But you have to push yourself to carry the maximum, to push yourself. Then you'll become successful in Krishna consciousness. Anything else? Here, give the mic to her, please. Can he go around? Go around that way.
I appreciate your point that actually the devotee need guidance to understand how to use his talent.
Yes, yes.
Because we are really very different. So
Yeah, we're all different, of course. We're all unique.
much more than in our movement because we are after Krishna, but we are so
Sure, sure.
But my question is, don't mind, but I have a feeling that for devotees in female body is more difficult to get like proper guidance in understanding how to engage in devotional service according to our nature. And because actually guru, if you expect it from guru, my experience is that not all gurus may be able to do that because maybe they're sannyas, maybe they can't take care of you. And also, as I understood in Vedic culture, actually a woman is not supposed to be guided by guru personally. If I understood properly. But so my question is like...
I understand,
yeah.
I understand. Well, in Vedic culture, the women is always need to be protected. They need to be protected. When they're young, by their parents, when they grow up, by their husband, and when they become old, by their children. So for them to be engaged, there's so many activities in ISKCON where you can be engaged. But again, if you can distribute books, that is the topmost. If you can engage in Sankirtan, that is the most. If not, every woman in ISKCON should learn how to cook. Every woman in ISKCON should learn how to make garlands. No. At least in that capacity, if you can be a good garland maker or a good cook, that you can offer to Krishna. You don't have to learn how to paint, how to do many, if you have that propensity already, then that could be, enhanced. But simple. Or can be a good housewife, take care of the children. Prabhupada says, taking care of the children is better than deity worship for the mother. Okay. What is the use of you're worshipping the deity, but then your children is not being taken care of? So you're not doing your duty. So women in Vedic culture is like that. They have their own place. But then our movement becomes so expanded so much that many other services can be done. But the topmost is Sankirtan, book distribution. If you cannot do that, just be an ideal housewife. Learn how to cook, take care of the children, clean the house. You go back home, back to Godhead also. If you want to do something extra, and your guru knows for you how to do it, like you say you're a good photographer, then you can be engaged in photography, right? You're good in, let's say, sewing. You can sew for the deities, so on. But for the woman to go to work, I mean, that's another thing. If you cannot survive, I mean, if you have so much expenses, then maybe the husband and wife has to go to work. But usually, wife, you should not go to work. Just take care of the children, if you can. Am I right, sir? Yeah, in India, it's like that, no? We don't tell them to go to the factory and work, right? No, we don't say that.
Because in our movement there are many unmarried Mataji's, and this is like especially maybe Western culture.
Yeah.
So it's like because how long can it?
No, Mataji should get. Mataji has to be protected by. Prabhupada says all the women in our movement should get married, and all the men in our movement should remain single. How are you gonna do that? All the women should get married, and all the men should be single. Right? So the main thing is the woman should always be protected. Should always be protected. If the woman can remain single, fine, that's the best. But better they get married so that they can be protected. Otherwise, they'll be exploited. And that happens even in our movement. So that's not good. Okay? Anything else? Okay, one last comment there or question? Microphone. Bhakta mic. Yes, it's you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you mentioned Varnashrama Dharma is material.
Yeah, it is still material. It is not spiritual. It's not one of the angas in bhakti.
But Prabhupada noted here, it is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Krishna.
That's right. That's right.
That is, if Varnashrama Dharma is used for sense gratification, that is material, and to satisfy Krishna, that is transcendental. Am I correct?
Well, the whatever propensity you have, either you're grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, or brahmana, satriya, vaishya, shudra, everything is meant to satisfy Lord Krishna. All of our actions. The main thing though is that, yes, it is not, everything that you do, if you satisfy Krishna, you're not anymore a satriya, you're a Vaishnava. So in the beginning, we use our propensity, whatever we have, whatever qualities, whatever guna qualities, or whatever karma, the actions that we're doing right now is meant to satisfy Krishna. There's no such thing as Satriya Vaishnava. You know, you're Vaishnava. Automatically, you're a Vaishnava. Okay? So
to satisfy the Varnashrama Dharma is used to satisfy Vishnu,
yeah.
That is transcendental, and
Yeah.
used for sense gratification, that is material.
yeah, everything that we do for our own enjoyment is material. But Varnashram is not, it is still not the goal. That's what I'm trying to say. And it is not one of the angas of devotional service. It is not, it's not, what you call? No, oh, no. There are 64 limbs in devotional service. 64 limbs. Okay? All right, we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.